Football Manager's just dropped a brand new trailer, and there's some very interesting things to talk about. Now, I won't go through the trailer completely because a lot of it is obviously just real footage from actual gameplay. It's not telling us what's coming out in the game. That's at the end, so we'll talk about that, what we can see. Now, Football Manager have done something what I actually think is a lot better than what they did last year with that 45-minute video, is they're teasing us with this trailer. They're making us very excited for Football Manager 2024 without giving too much away, but also telling us that there is going to be stuff coming. And that is clever, because then it keeps us wanting to come back every single week to learn about the stuff that's going to be happening in the brand new game. So I'm definitely thinking from a perspective of the developers, they've done a good job there. Because all of this stuff, yes, I'm looking at it and going, this isn't telling me about the actual game though, but I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. It's very much what we're used to seeing. November 6th is when it's coming out, just in case you didn't know, and I will have my own, obviously, discount code and everything like that, so you can buy the game through myself, which then obviously helps me as a creator as well. That will be set up very soon. But it's the next page that we all care about, isn't it? Because this next part, the features roadmap, which, by the way, making it look like it's part of the actual Football Manager, is fantastic. So I've stopped it here. We'll have a look at what we've got so far. On the week commencing the 18th, which will be next week, I'd imagine, probably around about the same time on the Tuesday. Smarter transfers. For the love of God, please have this to be like what I've wanted it to be for so long. Smarter transfers is something that I've been really hoping for so long, because we get some very dumb transfers, don't we? And some very dumb things happening in transfers, etc. And squad building. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the squad building side of it's going to be. Finance, that's very vague. I know a lot of these are just like very vague, but that is incredibly vague. And finance, what? Like, does this mean like we can now do stuff with the finances? We can buy ourselves a car with the money that we make being a Football Manager? Or is it just a case that we get to control a little bit more from our squad's finance? Whether that's, you know, where we gain our sponsors from, where we look to market the club a little bit more, or stuff like that. I'm not quite sure. So I'm interested to see what that is straight away. Especially the smart transfers. I'm really interested to see whether that makes any difference. Introducing intermediaries and offloading players. Yes. Now, from a rebuild perspective, the main problem that me and my dad come across is it is almost impossible to get rid of the players that you do not play. It genuinely is. And that's not realistic to me, because I mean, even clubs came in for Harry Maguire this year, and Manchester United didn't want him. He didn't go. That was down to his choice. But there were clubs interested. However, if I didn't play a player for the whole season on Football Manager, nobody would be interested, no matter how much I try and offer them out, and I get absolute pennies for it. So, offloading players, that's a tick from me. I want to know a lot about that. So straight away the first week, and this is why it's great that they're breaking stuff up, because now we can focus in on the stuff that they're giving us every single week, instead of giving us, this is all the information that you need. And then we're like, whoa, okay. And I've actually stopped it at quite a good time, really, because the features wrap-up video is here. So the following week is when we get the main crux of it, and probably the best thing that's gone on this features roadmap that I'm sure everybody is, and especially my comment section, is probably buzzing about. So starting off, individual player targets. Is that going to be where you give a player a target to score an amount of goals, and you know, you can have conversations with them about that, whether they can meet that target, or you know, amount of assists, etc. I'm not quite sure. Interaction logic. Hopefully that's a revamp, because it's become very... There's some things on the game now which is very poor, and like, you know, the one that got introduced recently is when they want to leave on a free contract. It's that conversation I hate now, because it's almost like, okay, so I have to sell you now then, because there's no point trying to change your mind. You can't. So I just don't bother. So I just try and sell them now. So interaction logic, hopefully that's a little bit of a bit more of a change, that you can actually influence players to like you more and want to stay with you more. And but also on the flip side of that, you could end up annoying people a lot more. So we'll see how that goes. Truer football motion. Match authenticity. So this is obviously around about the actual gameplay, and positional play is also put on there as well. So we're getting a little bit of a match engine update, I guess, before FM25, when we know there's a new engine which has already been announced earlier this year, just in case you didn't know, which hopefully is going to be absolutely phenomenal and the next step in Football Manager. So we're all really excited for that, but Football Manager promised us you're still going to really like FM24. And so far, you know, we'll see, but this is looking great. This is looking promising. Truer football motion, so I'm guessing the animation is going to be a little bit more realistic in that, because there are some still that's a little bit buggy, but it has, in the last few years, it's got a lot better, isn't it? We all know that. We just want the actual graphics to look better now, and the game will be phenomenal. Match authenticity. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that, so I'm intrigued by that one. Positional play, is that going to be where, because they mentioned about the tactics, didn't they? Earlier on in the video, they mentioned something about tactics and perfecting your tactic never stops, etc. It was around about here when they mentioned this. So they mentioned, you know, changing your tactics and stuff. And we've seen, did you see that, where the players then move position? Is that an Easter egg? I don't know, because from this, that could be something. Truer football motion, match authenticity, positional play. If I had to guess, it would be, do you know how like Pep Guardiola has a tactic which sets up, and then when he has the ball, John Stones goes into like the CDM and it looks like he's playing like 5 up front? Maybe it's something to do with that. Maybe we're going to see transitional formations now, which I'm not against at all, because if it makes the game a little bit more interesting and more intricate and adds a little bit more depth into the tactics, then by all means, I'm absolutely on board with that. That sounds like fantastic stuff to me. And positional play, truer football motion, whether that's match engine or the tactics side of things, we'll see, I guess. On the week commencing 25th of September. Annoyingly, I think I go on holiday that week, so I might miss it. Hopefully it comes out on the Tuesday, and I go on holiday on the Wednesday, so I might be able to talk about it. But still, positional play, what do you guys think that's going to be? Because that's the one that I'm looking at the most and thinking, could that be the tactic in regards to having a secondary tactic when you're in possession and out of possession? We'll see. But this one, I'm sure everybody is absolutely buzzing with. Set pieces refresh. It's music to all of our ears, isn't it? We've been wanting better set pieces for a while. Everybody gives me stick about using the corner tactic. It's in the game. I'm going to use it. Now maybe I won't have to. Maybe I won't be able to. But we can see some kind of difference on the set pieces page. And I hope it's not like the squad planner, which got introduced and I don't think many people use. I hope it's something that you are going to want to use. And you are going to want to, you know, try different set pieces and stuff. And hopefully there's going to be stuff where people can make content. Probably not myself. I don't really go do that side of things. But people can make content on, hey, I've been using this free kick setup and it's been working really well for me, or I've been using this defensive free kick stuff and it's, you know, I haven't been conceding many goals. I've used this wacky set piece routine and every now and then it gets me a random goal. Stuff like that, because we see it in real life. You know, clubs hire set piece coaches for a reason. We don't have that in the game yet. That would be a great addition. And coaches debut, that might mean stuff like that. I'm not quite sure what coach's debut means, but maybe it's something to do with having new coaches like set-piece coaches. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about that? So that's a big week. The week commencing the 25th of September. Hopefully, they send me on holiday, a very happy man, once we get to see what all of this stuff is going to be. But the following week, when I'm actually on holiday, lapping up in Spain with Omega Dad and the kids, more gameplay deep dives. So this is good. We're going to see more about the actual match engine, and hopefully, you know, we see Nick Madden, who I'm a big fan of Nick. Love the guy and what his team has done on this year's game through the more gameplay deep dives. And, you know, they do quite well of having these people who work on the different side of things explain more. And Nick is perfect for that because he gets you enthusiastic about everything, doesn't he? Because he's absolutely amazing when you see him on one of those videos. But more gameplay deep dives. FMFC, which is obviously the club thing that you can sign up for. And then the features wrap-up video. So that's going to wrap up everything that we have seen so far into one big video, I'd imagine, after they've explained it a little bit shorter, which, honestly, that's a lot better than the 45-minute video that we got last year. So that's absolutely perfect. The week commencing after, quality of life upgrades, which I'm not sure why they don't put that earlier. Because, to be honest, quality of life upgrades, some of the things that they've changed in the past where it's been a quality of life upgrade, I'm like, oh my god, you need to be making more of a big deal about this because not enough people know about it now. Like, some of these things are huge to me. But if we go on a little bit further, then the week commencing after is more about the console game, more about mobile, and then, of course, FM Touch the following week after. So the console, I think, is going to play a huge part, not just this year, but I think next year is going to play an even bigger part because of, obviously, that new graphics engine that we're going to have. Because I really hoped... I mean, maybe I was being a bit naive to think, but I really hope we were going to have a completely different look at the game because I fear the default skin is always just so bland and boring that I hate the very start of Football Manager games, like the very start of the cycle, because there isn't a good skin that I enjoy, and I find it really boring to look at. So, especially because I play on a wider screen as well, there's a lot of like empty spaces. So I think when the new game comes out with the new UI that they announced, that's when I'm going to be like, oh my god, this game is beautiful and it feels like a brand new game. Maybe I was a bit naive to think that maybe something was going to come here and they might mention something about a default skin. By the way, huge fan of the purple and orange. Every single year they surprise me with like a different fleck of colour and I'm like, oh, I respect that. You know, last year was the blue, the season before was like different purples. I think the season before that was like that fluorescent yellow in FM21 or whenever it was. But yeah, so this week, the console is going to be one where you might not know a lot about the consoles. Might not be a lot different this year, but maybe next year we might see a little bit more. But there's a lot more console players than what you actually think. A lot of my comment section now are console players, so that's huge. And if you are a console player, big respect. Thank you very much for purchasing FM on your console because that helps the overall game. But yeah, what's your guys' thoughts on this? I'm really glad they did it this way. As gutted as I am that we're not seeing anything today for me to react to about the actual game that we can see and talk about, I'm really pleased that they've gone with this route, with the features roadmap. And they've just given us little drips each week instead of that 45-minute video. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Are you as hyped about it? And soon I'll have everything up. By the way, channel members is open. If you want to sign up for the channel member, you get the weekly podcast that me and my dad do on the £3 tier. But if you go to the £5 tier, you also get the save game files as well. So check that out. Thank you very much. See you soon.